today I want to talk about how we can help our older child cope with the arrival of a new baby, right? So I've had many messages in the past few years of moms that, you know, their older child is loving and beautiful, but soon after the baby arrives, he starts or she starts to behave in very unpleasant ways, right? Hitting, throwing, raging, pushing limits, and other kind of behavior, right? So we're going to talk today about how we can deal with that in a positive and aware way, right? So firstly, I really want to send a lot of love to all of you mamas in this situation, and daddies as well, of course, because it is hard, it's challenging, right? It's challenging it's challenging because, you know, we just have a new baby, so we're tired, we're recovering. So I want to invite you firstly to take it easy, right? Take it easy, ask for as much support as you can. This is a huge transition, right? For everyone, for you, but for the older child and for the rest of the family as well. So now for the older child, we want to recognize that this situation, this transition is really scary, right? Before the new baby arrived, he had you just for himself or for herself the whole time. She had all your presence. Maybe she was sleeping with you. Maybe she could have booby with you, right? And suddenly, since the baby has arrived, well, mommy doesn't have as much time for her, right? And of course she doesn't, right? I'm not here to blame the moms, right? Of course we don't have much time for the older child when we have a new baby, right? But I'm trying to put us really in the shoes of the older child, right? So it's really scary for the older child, right? Suddenly mommy is not as available. There is another baby having the booby milk. Sometimes we put the older child in another room as well when the baby comes, so she might feel really rejected. She's feeling sad. She's feeling sad, but also really scared. There is nothing more scary for a child than feeling that we're losing our attachment figure, right? And feeling like mommy is not available anymore feels for the child like if mommy was gone. And this is really, really scary. And when the child is scared, when he's overwhelmed, he will do really crazy things, right? It will show you through his behavior that he's overwhelmed and that he's scared, right? Just imagine for yourself if you had your husband bringing a new wife at home, right? Imagine, you know, he would bring the new wife and he would spend all his time with the new wife, and he will be in the bed with her, and you would be put in another room, and he will, you know, play with her and giggle and give her kisses. How would you feel, right? Usually when I ask that to moms, they'd be, well, I would feel mad, or I would feel really angry at him. And yeah, like fair enough, right? Fair enough. So that's probably how the older child is feeling as well. She might be feeling really angry, right? You're bringing a little creature home that is taking all your time and feels like it's taking all your love. So she's feeling mad, she's feeling angry, right? And that's a very normal and healthy reaction, right? Anger comes up when our needs are not met and when there's something that doesn't feel quite right, right? So yeah, the child is feeling angry and she will show that through her behavior, right? Especially she might feel powerless around that because she didn't have a choice around that, right? So let me know if that makes sense. I see that there are a few people watching here. So just for us to really put ourselves in the child's shoes is that, yeah, she's feeling mad and she's feeling scared. We're really scared of losing her mommy. and that creates a lot of overwhelm. Behavior is communication, right? So she's feeling mad, she's feeling scared, she's feeling overwhelmed, and through her behavior, basically she's asking for help, right? She's saying, can someone be with me and help me deal with all those huge feelings, those feelings that are way too big for me, right? Is there someone understanding me right now, understanding how I feel, right? Is there someone seeing how terrified I feel right now, right? There's a new creature here, it's taking my mommy away, I'm feeling mad and I need help, right? This is what the child's behavior is saying. And we really want to trust, in those moments that our child doesn't want to hurt the baby. He doesn't want to be pushing limits. He doesn't want to throw things at you. He doesn't want to be hitting. He doesn't want to feel mad or angry or overwhelmed, right? He doesn't want to. Nobody wants that. We don't like to feel that way, right? But he is feeling angry, he's feeling scared, he's feeling overwhelmed, and on top of that, he has no impulse control, right? We kind of have some impulse control as adults, but our child doesn't. So when he's feeling mad, well, his behavior is showing it, and he needs help with his impulses, right? He needs help to stay under control, and he needs help with his big feelings, right? So I'm going to give you a few things that are really concrete that you can do with your child, a few games that you can play with him or her to reassure her that you really love her, that you're right there, and also some games where she can let some anger out in a positive and healthy way, so she doesn't need to take it out on the baby, right? Firstly, three things we can do really for our child to help her. The first one is to accept and acknowledge her feelings, right? By really feeling in your body, connecting with her, and saying things like, gosh, I get it. It used to be just the three of us, you, mommy, and me. Mommy had lots of time for you. You had booby milk, or whatever it is that she had and doesn't have anymore, right? Doesn't have anymore. Yeah, that used to be just the three of us, and maybe it's taking all mommy's time. That might be really frustrating, right? I really understand that, right? So she feels acknowledged and understood. Then I want to invite you to reassure her of your love, right? Because it is really scary for a child to feel like she's losing the love of a parent. So in those moments, and I know it's really hard, but we want to try to not use punishment when our child is showing through her behavior that she's feeling mad. Because what punishment do is that they create more disconnection, right? They will make the child even more mad, because she will feel not understood, not loved, right? It would make the child feel even more lonely, right? Especially with time out or things that are really disconnecting. We really want to avoid that. We want to create more connection with our child so she doesn't feel like she's losing us, right? And then the third thing I want to invite you to do is invite your child to express her anger and her sadness and her feels. And children do that either through play and laughter, or they do that with tears and raging, right? So we want to try to allow as much as possible our child's crying and raging in this big transition, right? Crying and raging is a beautiful emotional release where the child will just let out those feelings of sadness and anger that are making her feel a bit mad and behave in this unpleasant way, right? So I want to invite you to stay with your child when she is crying or raging, holding that safe space so she can offload all this anger and all those feelings, right? And if it's not you, that can be daddy or someone else, just so she can let some feelings out, yeah? when she's hitting or throwing, I want to invite you also to go there next to her and calmly stop her. Right? We don't want to let her do any of those things that are hurtful. So if she's throwing or hitting, you might want to hold her hand and set that limit, right? I'm not going to let you hit, sweetheart. I'm not going to let you throw this. But when you set that limit, she might start crying or raging. And these are all the feelings, all the anger coming out of her body. So if we can allow that to happen and stay with her and show her that no matter how she feels, we love her, that her anger is not going to break the bond we have with her, this is so very powerful for a child, right? And it will only help her. Now, we're going to see through a few games how we can help her release feelings through play, right? So I've got 4 games that I want to share with you, and I want to let you know, by the way, that I'm creating a whole online course on, I don't know how I'm going to call it yet, playful discipline, or connecting with our child through play to avoid or prevent misbehavior or unpleasant behavior. Right? I'm really putting there'll be about like 150 or 200 games into that online course. It's going to be wonderful. So a few games we can play with our older child. You might notice that your child is going through a little regression phase, which is pretending to be a baby, and I want to invite you to go with that. We call that regression games in attachment play, and regression games are really great to help the child feel loved and feel nurtured and feel that even though she's a bit older, she still has your love and your nurturing side, right? So play games, baby games with her as much as you can, right? Playing with her toes, singing lullaby, wrap her in the blanket, like all that is very nurturing and really beautiful. For her to release some anger and feel a bit more in power in her world, I want to invite you to play power reversal games. So power reversals mean that she is the one in power and you pretend to be weak. So you can invite her to push you on the shoulder, and every time she pushes you, you fall dramatically and comment on how strong she is, so she can feel like she's got some power and some, that she is strong and that she's got some control over her world, right? So any kind of power reversal game, pushing over, or maybe you might be standing and she pushes against your knees and you go backwards one step at a time. Oh, you're pushing me, right? All these are great games to play when the child feels powerless and angry, right? That pushing is helping at the somatic level to get some anger out of the system, so go for it. Another game that will reassure her that you love her and that you're there is the game called She's Mine, or I call it I Want Ayo. That's my daughter's name. So if your daughter is called Sophie, you can play I Want Sophie, and you and your partner or your husband will playfully fight over her to have her. Or I want her toes, no, I want her arm. Or you might chase daddy, if you're fit enough after giving birth, chase daddy playfully. It doesn't need to be fast, but just so your child feels really desired, right? I want her, no, I want her, no, I want to sit next to her, I want to sit next to her, right? So she feels really loved and desired. And it doesn't need to, to last for a long time. A few minutes of this kind of play every day goes a long way. Another kind of play that is really powerful is symbolic play with dolls. You can pretend to have, a few dolls that represents your family. So the mama doll, the daddy doll, the older child doll, and the baby doll. And if you don't have dolls, blocks or whatever it is, will do the thing. And just sit next to her and observe her play. And the most important in this moment is that you are accepting of all her emotions. and everything she's processing through play. So you might see that in the play she will put the baby, I don't know, in a plane and send him away. Or you might, you know, mommy and daddy and the older child might go in the car and leaving the baby at home while they go playing, right? And if we can be accepting of that, that will really help her, right? She's showing through play what is going on for her in her mind and in her body right now, right? So she wishes the baby were not there, right? And fair enough, it's hard for her. So if you can just sit down and be accepting of her play without trying to analyze it or to comment on it, but just being there and accepting her and all her emotions, all the feelings that she's throwing through the play, that can be a very big deal for her. It can be very empowering and feeling accepted and understood and all this. So yeah, also if you have families and friends there to help, invite them to, you know, look after the baby for a minute or help with the chores of the house so you can spend a few minutes with your older child. And yeah, as I said, take care of yourself, right? Take it easy, let all other priorities away. You are the priority right now and your little ones. So I have to fly. I've got a one-on-one session on Skype starting in 2 minutes. I hope that was helpful. Let me a few comments below or send me some questions if you have them. I wish you a beautiful weekend. Bye.